Good afternoon. Welcome to the board meeting of the Teachers Retirement Board for June 26th, 2025. We'll start by calling the roll. Brian Bergen. Oh, Kevin Lewis.
Emily Adams, present.
Thank you. Thomas Brown.
Present. Patricia, good afternoon.
Gregory Faulkner. John Dawson.
John Dawson, designee for control, Brad Landon, present.
Victoria Lee. Christina McGrath. Present. Good afternoon. We have a quorum. Next on the agenda is an update on TRS operations given to us by Kathleen Tahama.
Thank you, Patricia. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Summer retirements. TRS has received more than 1,200 applications for retirement after the school year. These are preliminary figures because applications can be withdrawn up until one day before the chosen retirement date. We will report final summer retirement data at the September board meeting. Regarding our educational programs, even though the school year is ending soon, the TRS member education team will continue to offer programs for members throughout the summer. There will be online sessions as well as in-person sessions which are held at TRS in the Melvin Aronson Member Education Center. The schedule of programs is posted on our website and is updated regularly. Thank you.
Thank you, Kavita.
Thank you, Kavita. Next is report from the actuary.
Good afternoon. So it is for my fiscal note update, it's the end of the legislative session. We've had a record number of fiscal notes the office has produced this year, 81 versus 75 last year. In your board material, there's 5 new fiscal notes that have released since the last board meeting. I should point out that none of these have passed both houses, so there's very little chance that they'll get signed into law later this year. So I'll just skip over them. They're there if you need them. There was one piece of legislation that did pass that impacts TRS, and that's the actuarial interest rate extension. So the 7% interest rate was extended for another 4 years. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? None.
Okay.
Thank you, Mara.
Thank you. Next is the executive director's report. And the first item there is the next meeting, which will be held Thursday, September 18th, 2025.
So no doubt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the authorization to the controller of the city of New York to invest certain QPP funds. Resolved.
Please skip to the resolve.
Waive the
Hopefully waive the reading and skip to the resolve.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, just waive the reading.
The reading has been waived.
Great. So we're ready to ask for a motion to accept the controller's authorization to invest QPP funds.
So moved.
Second. And any questions or comments? All those in favor of accepting controller's authorization to invest QPP funds, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Abstentions. This has passed.
Thank you for your continued support of the controls.
Thank you.
Next is the authorization to the controller of the city of New York to invest
Please waive
certain
the reading.
tax deferred annuity funds.
Please waive the reading.
The reading has been waived.
Thank you, Patricia. So therefore, we will entertain a motion to accept the controller's authorization to invest the TDA funds.
So moved.
It's been moved. Do I hear a second? Second. We're ready to take this vote. All those in favor of accepting the controller's authorization to invest TDA funds, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. The abstentions, and this reso has been passed as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also want to say thank you for your continued support of the controls office for this as well.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Okay. Next is to authorize the continuation of basis point fee for variable annuity programs. Leave the reading, please. Well, we should skip to the resolve.
Oh, this one's the first one.
Yeah.
Yes, please skip to the resolve.
Thank you. Resolve that the administrative expense charge for assets in the variable annuity funds shall continue to be 18 basis points, 1.5 bips monthly through fiscal year 2026, and be it further resolved that if the expense fee revenue exceeds variable fund expenses, including operating and special project expenses, TRS will return any excess revenue in accordance with TRS's processes, and be it further resolved that TRS staff shall continually monitor and review revenue from the expense fee and shall notify the board of any material changes in assumptions or experience that may impact the expense fee.
Thank you, Patricia. Do we hear a motion to accept this resolution? Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved, it's been seconded. Any conversation, any questions? All those in favor of accepting this resolution for the authorization of continuation of basis point fee for variable A annuity programs, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? This reso has been passed. Thank you.
The next resolution is the actuary's recommendation regarding the tier 3, 4, and 6 loan insurance premium rate for fiscal year 2026.
Please skip to the resolve.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby adopts the recommendation of the actuary as stated in the report dated June 18th, 2025, and stipulates the tier 3, 4, and 6 loan insurance premium rate be continued at its rate of 0.10 per annum of the outstanding loan balances for any loan originating during fiscal year 2026. For example, July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Thank you. And do I hear a motion to move this reso?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
The actuary is going to speak on it.
So my recommendation is to keep it at 0.1%. It's been 0.1% since fiscal year 2020. The recommendation is based on two parts, a hypothetical calculation we perform using your current mortality rates, and that hypothetical calculation came out with a rate just under 0.1%. Looking at recent experience due to COVID, some of the claims were higher than the premiums collected. So there's been some recent adverse experience, but we're just taking a wait and see approach to see if that normalizes. So for now, we're recommending keeping it at 0.1%. Some point in the future, if there's a continuing pattern of negative experience, we might have to raise it back up to 0.2%, which is what it was before.
Okay. So do we have a motion to move this reso?
I believe we already have a motion and a
So
second.
moved, yes.
Oh, it has been moved already and it
And
has
I'll second it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was in the discussion period. So we're ready to actually take a vote on this reso. Those in favor of reso for fiscal year 2026 tiers 3, 4, 6 loan insurance premium rate, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Abstentions, and this reso has been approved. Thank you.
The next resolution is for the reappointment of a doctor to the medical board.
Please skip to the resolve.
Resolved that the retirement board hereby reappoints Dr. Alan Davis to a 3-year term on the TRS medical board expiring July 31st, 2028.
So I'll make the motion to accept that.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
So we're ready to take a vote. All those in favor of the reappointment of Dr. Alan David to the medical board, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Abstentions. This reso has passed. Thank you.
The last resolution is attendance at a conference.
Please skip to the resolve.
Resolved that the trustees of the Teachers Retirement Board hereby approve the attendance and participation of the executive director and or her designees and any interested trustee at the National Council on Teachers Retirement 2025 NCTR 103rd Conference from October 4th through the 7th, 2025.
Great. And is there a motion to move this reso?
So moved.
It's been moved to second.
Second.
I hear it's been seconded, although any discussion? Those in favor of this reso attendance at the NCTR conference, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Abstentions? This reso has passed. Thank you.
Next is the calendar. And the first item on the calendar is approval of the following minutes. May 8th, 2025, investment meeting minutes. May 15th, 2025, board meeting minutes.
Great. I will entertain a motion to accept the May 8th, 2025 investment meeting minutes. And I'm sorry, and at the same time, the May 15th, 2025 board meeting minutes.
So,
And I'll second those.
Great. So we're voting on both of these together. All those in favor of accepting the investment meeting minutes and the board meeting minutes for the dates indicated, please say aye. Those opposed say nay. Abstentions. The board meeting minutes and the investment meeting minutes have been passed.
Next are the calendar items. You all received an electronic version that you were able to review.
please read the reading.
Thank you.
Great. Is there a motion to accept the calendar items?
So moved.
And there's a second?
Second.
Any questions about calendar items? Great. Those in favor of accepting the calendar items, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Abstentions? Let the record, Sophia, that we have accepted the calendar items. Thank you.
Next, under other business is the draft, or we want to finalize the draft for the dates for 2026 investment and board meeting minutes. Let's put that in front of you. So we would like to finalize this and send it out as the final calendar.
So I'm just want to say I'm comfortable approving this today. I just want to make the note that in January 2026, there may be certain changes that are beyond my control. So there may be a reason to revisit this sometime in the next calendar year. So I just want to say, while I have every intention that this calendar would suffice, I just understanding that there's calendars issues could arise. Just want to put that out there that let me note that for the record.
Okay.
And just for the record, on the calendar that we just received, it's September 25 through June of 26. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I'll move the calendar, you know.
Great.
You don't have to vote on it.
No, we just have an acknowledge. That's fine. Okay, we'll acknowledge it. We all agree that this is the.
And we're gonna send it out.
Great, thank you. We're all in agreement of this school year, coming up school year is going to be great. Thank you very much.
Next is a presentation for a CEM presentation. Given by Christopher Dahl from CEM, all the way from Canada.
Christopher, welcome.
Thanks. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Sure.
Yep, is that picking up? Yeah. Perfect. We're all set. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Chris Dahl. I'm the relationship manager with CEM, covering New York City teachers. Just by way of background, for those that aren't familiar, CEM exists to help plans do better for their members. We're a fully independent third-party company that provides global benchmark reporting on cost and performance pension plans for over 30 years. We also provide peer-to-peer exchange of insights, data-driven research, and communities and practices. Today, during my presentation, I'll review your cost and performance for the year ending June 2024, so last June. And with that, I will jump into the key highlights. Can we flip to the next page, please? The following are the key takeaways from the report that I'll walk through today. So your costs were $282 per active member annuitant. This was above the peer average of 107. This was $107 above the peer average of 175. Because you're slightly smaller size than the peer group, we do make an adjustment for that. And so when we adjust for your scale disadvantage, you're actually only $96 above your peer average. There are a couple drivers for your higher cost status. You are higher cost because you have a higher FTE in your front office supporting the member engagement out in the field. And you're also in the middle of a system modernization, which is resulting in your costs being a little bit higher this year. And we'll go through that as I walk through the presentation. Over the last 8 years, your costs have increased at a very reasonable rate of only 2.3%. This was below the peer average of around 4.2% during that same time period. On the service side, your service score was 81, which is right in line with the peer median at 82. A couple of areas where you did really well include targeted campaigns, the call quality in your call center, and member statements. A couple of areas that are opportunities for improvement include the contact center accessibility, salary and service credit information availability, and timeliness of completing pension estimates for members. Over the last 8 years, your service score has increased by 1 point from 80 to 81. And that sort of summarizes the overall cost and performance. When we look at your cost effectiveness, it does illustrate that you are higher relative service, but also higher relative cost. So there's a little balance there. Just flipping forward to the next slide. Thank you. The insights included in the report are based on the 78 plans on this page. They include plans from US, Canada, and Europe. The majority of them are US based. During my presentation, when I reference the universe or all average, I'm referencing these 78 plans. Next slide. In addition to these 78 plans, we also build a custom peer group. And this is designed to compare your costs based on peers of similar size. And this is really designed to make sure that we are comparing costs on an equal basis. Your size by member is 220,000 members. We try and find a peer group where you slot in the middle. You are on the smallest side of this peer group, and so we do make an adjustment for that, which I'll get into in a second. But we still feel that these 14 peers are appropriate for comparing and benchmarking your costs overall. Next slide, please. As I mentioned at the outset, your costs are $282, $107 above the peer average. On this slide, we've broken the slide out into 2 categories: business as usual costs, which are the ongoing costs to manage the plan on a day-to-day basis, and major project spend, which would be things like system modernization that you're going through right now. Your business as usual costs were $220, only $71 above the peer average. But your major project spend were $61 and $35 above the peer average. So major projects are driving a fair chunk of your overall spend over your peer average. Just flipping forward to the next slide, we have an attribution of your business as usual costs. On the left side, you can see that the business as usual cost per median were above the peers at peer average and the peer median. On the right, break down that attribution across 2 categories: your front office and your governance and support costs. In the front office, you had higher member transaction and collection and data and maintenance costs, but your member communications were slightly below the peer average. On governance and support costs, you're above peers, with the biggest contributor coming from your building, other support services, and governance and financial controls. These were offset by lower costs in infotech, actuarial, legal, and audit costs. Flipping forward to the next slide, I did talk a little bit about your scale disadvantage. And so this slide is just designed to illustrate this. So based on our calculation, your plan is about 23% smaller than the weighted average of your peers. From our perspective, there are economies of scale to larger plans. So when we adjust for your scale disadvantage, we're seeing that you're disadvantaged by $11 per member. And so we'll adjust the peer benchmark cost by that accordingly. So on the next slide, we see the breakdown of your cost versus your peer benchmark, and the scale adjustment is included at the bottom here at $11. So there are 5 areas that we look at when we benchmark your costs. First, you have more FTE per 10,000 members. You're at 7.9 versus peers at 4.6. This is resulting in a $50 difference. A couple of drivers for this: your plan complexity. You are the 3rd most complex plan within our universe. And so complexity drives up costs. As you can well imagine, the members on the phone and whatnot are doing more to service the membership at large. Second, your transaction volumes. You do significantly more transaction volumes per member. You're 3.26 times the volumes that your peers are doing overall. So both of these items are driving that FTE number higher and contributing to that difference there. The second item on this slide is lower third-party costs in the front office. You have very low third-party costs, and so you're saving $13 versus your peers. The third item on this chart is higher cost per FTE. And so this is fairly flat. You're basically in line with your peers. So your costs have been driven mostly by lower salary and benefits, HR, and IT desktop, network, and telecom spend. And this is offset only by your higher billing and utilities costs. And then the fourth item is higher support costs per member. You have higher costs across most categories, with major project spend, actuarial, legal, and audit driving most of the difference. And then the final item is that scale disadvantage. So when we factor out the five items, this is how we come up with your overage versus your peers at 96. The last thing I did want to note in this example is the salary and benefits and some of the higher costs per FTE are driven by your high cost labor environment. And we do an assessment of you and your peers based on the Department of Labor statistics. And you are, should be no surprise to anyone in the room here, you are the most expensive market to operate in. And so that is impacting some of your higher cost FTE numbers. And just the final item on costs is your cost trend, as I mentioned at the outset, increased by a very reasonable 2.3% over the last 8 years, whereas peers have increased by 4.2%. So overall, a good story there. We do see that the shaded parts at the top are your major project spend. So ongoing major projects have been a consistent theme over time. So that's to summarize the cost story. I'm going to have a quick slide, couple slides on the service story, and then I'll talk about a little bit on some of the global trends that we're seeing. So your service score was 81. This was slightly, as I mentioned before, below the peer median. It's basically the same at 82. We look at your service score across 4 key member activities or journeys. On the active member side, you're doing better than your peers at 79 versus 76. On the inactive side, you're slightly below your peers, but it is a small weight in our survey overall because the service for active members is generally less than it is for the other members in the active members in your program. On the retiring member experience, you're at 79 versus 83. And the annuitant experience, you're in line with peers at 88. When we factor all those up, that's how we're getting to 81 versus 82. Just flipping forward to your service score trend. It has increased by 1 point over the last 8 years. A couple of areas of positive impact. So staffing levels have improved, which means wait times have fallen from 1,860 seconds down to 244 seconds on the call. Undesirable call outcomes have fallen from 26 to 4%. And then email response times have improved from 5 to 3 days. So all trending in the right direction. We've also seen that you've initiated a feedback survey program on the website. And so those are all contributing to the positive experience that members are seeing. On the negative side, website members aren't greeted by name anymore. So that was a change that has a very small impact overall. Longer term changes since 2021, members can retire online by submitting their applications directly. And so overall, a good story with trends moving upwards. So that summarizes the service score. Look forward to the next slide. I have a couple slides on some global trends that I'll review quickly, and I'll wrap up my presentation. So we're seeing a number of trends develop around the world based on our conversations with members. Digitization seems to be the biggest of them. So members are expecting a higher level of digital service and self-serve engagement with the pension plans that they're dealing with. So they're using things like their network, Netflix or cell phone provider online, and they're coming to expect that same level of service from their pension plans. And so we're seeing that that drive to be more digital. It's also born out of some of COVID, where digitization really increased to that period as well. Upgrading systems is impacting costs, as you can attest. You're going through it as well. Cybersecurity and data quality continues to remain a big issue. At a recent conference that we hosted with pension plans from around the world, cybersecurity and fraud prevention was possibly the most talked about topic in general around the water cooler and around the networking breaks. And we're seeing that consistently. We'll likely be doing some more work on that at CDM in the coming year. Automation and AI present opportunities for improvement, and I have a slide on AI, which I'll touch on in a second. I'm not going to dwell on the post-pandemic impacts. I think the further we get away from the pandemic, the less they become relevant. But there are some impacts there that are still being felt in certain pockets. Just looking at the next slide, we see that your secure website visits do dominate your transaction volumes overall and have trended higher over the last number of years. On the flip side, your call trend continues to trend downwards. This is consistent with what we're seeing across the universe. Call volumes, emails, and traditional incoming mail are all declining as more and more members rely on self-service automation through the secure website. Your one-on-one meetings and member presentations remain below pandemic levels, but are well above peers. So overall, a good availability to your members in accessing the support they need when making a retirement decision. On the next slide, this is a measure of digital reach. This is a new measure that we started to track. It is designed to compare self-service activity through the website against your traditional supported or assisted service activity through the call center, emails, and incoming mail. Your digital reach in 2024 was a very high 91%, and well above your peers at 71 and 68%. That ties back to that previous slide where the transaction volumes through your website are just so much higher than your peers. Looking into the next slide on the call center, a couple of items to highlight here in the top left-hand quadrant. Your time on the call has increased over the past 8 years. This as well is not surprising. This is consistent with the trend we're seeing in the universe. Because members are processing their transactions independently online, when they do have a question for the plan, they're calling it. It's a little bit more in depth, a little bit more time consuming to complete. So call times as a whole have trended higher over the last 8 years. In the bottom left-hand slide, we see first call resolution stats increasing from 94 to 97% and significantly higher than where your peers in the all average are. So great work there. In the top right-hand quadrant is the call wait times. Big spike post-COVID through 2022. Staffing levels, as I mentioned earlier, have increased, and we've seen those numbers come down. And you're actually now below the peer and universe averages overall. And in the bottom right-hand corner, undesirable call outcomes, again, that spike in COVID, and we've come back down to levels that we haven't seen since 2017 for university teachers, and well below the peer averages as well. Next slide, just on system modernization. You and 17 of your peers are going through system modernization. The bar chart on the top left-hand quadrant here is just the average age of the pension administration systems at all the plans in the universe. You can see yours is well above the average and explains why we're going through the modernization right now. And so just a quick snapshot on where plans are in their evolution with their modernization programs. You can see in your peer group alone, there are 3 plans that have systems that are much longer than you that are also going through modernization. And then the last slide I have is just on AI. A couple of use cases, and I'll just speak to a few of them that we see that plans are around using AI. So the biggest one is within the call center where the call is being recorded, transcribed, summarized and automatically loaded into the CRM or the pension administration system for documentation. This is allowing the member on the call center to spend more time on the calls and less time off the call and doing the post-call follow-up. We also see AI acting as a great resource to perform quality assurance tests and sentiment assessments throughout the call, and many plans are starting to engage in that to help the member on the phone, the call center rep on the phone, be responsive and in tune to what the caller is asking for in their temperament throughout the call. Document management, we're seeing of the automation and robotics and aggregating document for ease of use or query. And then proof of life verification, which I probably wouldn't have tossed into AI a couple of years ago, but the more we've talked about fraud prevention and the more I realized that proof of life verification through facial recognition is going to be an increasingly important component of your ability to ensure you're dealing with the member that they say they are. Especially in light of the fact that AI can mimic someone's voice and replicate someone's voice pretty easily. The face is pretty much, we're getting to that as being the only area where we can identify the person as a whole. So those are my prepared remarks. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any. Otherwise,
Any questions for Chris? Thank you, Chris.
thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, questions and comments from the public?
So that concludes our agenda for the public session. Is there a motion to go into executive session? Oh, sorry. Oh, well, Sarah and Christina, and we got a second there as well. Any discussion? Those in favor of going into executive session, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Extensions? We're now in executive session. Great, we are now back in public session, and I believe we have a readout from Priscilla. Hey, Priscilla, how are you?
How are you? How's everybody?
Good, thank you. Good to see you.
Likewise. Okay, going to the heart of the matter. In the executive session of the June 26, 2025 board meeting, 2 resolutions pertaining to investment recommendations were presented to the board. Both resolutions passed. Also presented to the board was a resolution on the renewal of investment manager agency agreements. This resolution also passed. Details to be made available at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Priscilla.
Thank you.
Thank you. And before we ask to adjourn, I just wanted to, as always, thank Richard, our tech person from TRS, and also Sophia, our recorder. Thank you. And this is the last school day of our school year, and it is the last TRS board meeting for the school year as well. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of our hearts as trustees, teacher member trustees, thank the staff at Teachers Retirement System. We thank the executive director, Patricia Riley, the deputy executive director, that McTeague, you go above and beyond what you need to do to serve as our members. And we have, as Chris said, over 220,000 members. And our members love TRS. They love their defined benefit plan. They love their 403 TDA, and they love the system. And when you go out into the schools and you hear people talking about the pension and the TDAs and what service they get from Teachers Retirement System, it just makes us feel good. And we just can't thank you enough, because you always have the interests of the members at heart. Anytime I attend a meeting with TRS and there's a discussion and there's a decision to be made, the question always, how does this affect? How would this benefit our members? So I just wanted to thank you on this last day of school and our last board meeting until September, to thank you publicly. Much appreciated. And we'll see you all in September.
Thank you.
As that song goes, see you in September. In September. Thanks, everybody.